What is going on, guys, and welcome to Fitment Industries. My name is Sean, and today I want to take you on a fun little lesson learning adventure, or FLLLA for short. You see, being an enthusiast from a young age led me to experiment with just about everything under the sun that people do to modify their cars, a lot of which were extremely questionable, often dangerous, and pretty embarrassing to say the least. But you live and you learn, right? We'll zip up them weird 90s windbreakers that seem to be all the friggin' rage these days and get ready for a trip, because right now we're gonna dive into some of the car mods that gained a lot of hype. We're number one up in here! But we're kind of duds. This is car mods that we all fell for, and make sure to stick around for the last one because it's probably not what you think it is. Let's get started. Starting with a mod that currently holds the longest kill streak in blowing up engines, and is simultaneously probably the cheapest mod on this list. If you have a turbocharged vehicle, you can just go and pick up a $12 boost controller and just slam as much boost as your poor little turbo can force into your engine, which sounds awesome, right? More boost equals more fun, but your stock fuel map can only compensate so much. Adding all that air and leaving fueling up to a system that's calibrated for, not 20 PSI is asking for disaster. Running super lean is a great way to burn up some rings. But I get it, I've been there. Oh, I can get away with it. I'm just gonna add 1 or 2 measly pounds of boost. Another one. Certainly the factory computer can keep up with that, right? It probably can, but we all know damn well if we're impulse buying a boost controller for $12, we're probably also susceptible to impulse thinking just one time at 25 PSI should be fine. And then twice is fine. The next thing you know, it's just always at 25 PSI and you can't stop beating on it. And then when your rods come a knocking, you put on your surprised face and look like you don't even know what just happened. Now go clean up those shards of engine block off the street, you silly little goober. You've got an engine to build. This next one has everything to do with braking. Right. Brakes are a lot like tires. Bigger isn't always better. I mean, it is, but there's variables. Big brake kits are mostly for show, and that's totally fine. I'd rather see a big, colorful, shiny caliper on anything over a factory non-painted unit. Hell, I point out the 8-piston Brembos on my AMG all the time because they're fun to talk about and cool to look at. But if you're actually looking for a brake upgrade, your money might be better spent on more aggressive pads and fluid, especially if you're actually using the car for a track day. Because you have to think, just going and throwing a huge caliper on your car and making it work is going to throw off the braking bias on your car, which in an emergency situation could be a weak point in keeping it under control. So unless you're really dedicating to a solid, properly tuned braking system, big brakes themselves aren't going to necessarily be a big improvement for you guys, which sucks because that shit is expensive. Liquid wraps.
Plasti dip.
The affordable DIY alternative to painting your car before vinyl got more affordable. Man, did this shit go crazy for a couple of years. Everybody and their mom. What? Changing the color of their car. If it wasn't a full color change, it was matte black grills and badges and bright ass colored trim pieces for literally no reason. And maybe the worst one to get poorly prepped liquid wrap off in the entire world is fucking wheels. This shit was everywhere. And I blacked out so many badges for $20 in 2012, you have no idea. So where did it all go? Well, this is the one major downside to most ultra affordable products. It gets used the wrong way over and over and over again until someday it becomes synonymous with bad taste and nobody wants to talk about it anymore, and the better alternative is more affordable than ever. Now, liquid wraps still certainly have a place in automotive culture, but I'm personally glad that that place is higher quality liquid wraps only and not a surge of high schoolers with aerosol plastic dip cans and some painter's tape. Hey, you there. Yeah, you. Are you sick of wasting your time at the tire shop waiting to get your tires mounted? Sick of working around crazy schedules only to have David, your tire tech, come around and tell you there's an extra fee for mounting your low profile tires, or even simply being told they can't mount your rubber band stretchy boys? Dang it. And maybe, just maybe, they scratched and chipped your brand new wheels.
Well, I guess I'm painting my wheels.
Well, guess what? If you get a wheel and tire package from fitmentindustries.com, we don't ask questions. You want to put a 215/40 on an 18x10? We'll find a way to get it on there, no charge. And then we're going to balance it on our brand new Road Force balancing machines also at no extra cost. And our tire guys are car guys. We know how precious this cargo is, and we treat it just like it was our own. And then we're gonna ship them as fast as we reasonably can, also, again, at no extra cost. These things are mounted at balance and shipped for free. It's that simple. So what are you waiting for? Get your next wheel and tire package from fitmentindustries.com. Let's get back to the video. Cutting off all of your exhaust and literally straight piping it makes your car sound cool.
It sounds so good.
I think we all not only fell for that one, but maybe even convinced ourselves that our cars actually sounded good. But now after playing with cars for as long as I have, I don't think there is anything out there to this day that sounds better straight piped than it does with a proper exhaust on it. Now I can't say I've never straight piped a car. Legit exhaust is expensive. Ordering universal pre-vent pipe off Amazon for $90 and having your drunk off 13 beers friend who said he would weld it
Give me the grinder.
and trade for a 30 pack of beers is a whole lot more affordable than a professionally engineered mandrel bent exhaust that's purpose built to sound good and improve power. I mean, honestly though, I thought he meant that we would drink the beers and work on the car at the same time, but I guess the beers were to get hammered first and then work on it, and that's not how you should. Don't drink and work on stuff. It's bad for everyone. Regardless, straight pipes are good for pretty much nothing, and if you can avoid it, please do. The lightweight flywheel thing was something that I had to learn the hard way. Making the decision to choose a lightweight flywheel over a full weight or even dual mass was easy. The lighter one is usually cheaper. It theoretically increases performance. That's a frickin' triple deal if I've ever heard one. But nobody ever talks about the downsides to a lightweight flywheel, especially if you have a heavier car or something that's boosted without a bunch of low-end torque or a super light car. It can really make for a finicky driving experience on the street. Engagement is more difficult. It can make all kinds of clutch chatter, which will always have you questioning if you have a valve train issue or not. And it makes not perfectly rev matching a lot less forgiving. While you will make a couple more ponies to the tire and your car will rev up and down faster, I'm not so sure if it's worth it, honestly. I felt like the benefits didn't outweigh the negatives in my experience, just like with my experience with polyurethane motor mounts. Again, on paper, motor mounts sounded like a win-win. More aggressive engine mounts are going to theoretically be more robust against abuse. You're gonna get less movement throughout everything, so your headers aren't banging into your freaking floor. And with more resistance against the engine twisting, technically you will be putting more power to the ground. And for my fellow front wheel drive guys, wheel hop is gonna be reduced quite a bit. So when faced with the motor mount replacement on my Jetta, it was no question, I'm getting the race density mounts, all right? And about 3 minutes after installing them, I realized that I had made a huge mistake. It was a 2-liter Mark IV Jetta, all right? I know it's a 2-liter, but it was clean, it was lagoon blue, it was manual, it was pretty low on some raceline coilovers. I put the GLI Recaros in it. Other than that, it was pretty stock because, you know, it's a 2-liter. Anyway, the damn thing sounded straight piped, all right? The motor mounts were so hard that the vibration through the car made it sound like it was straight piped while I was driving. I could not believe how much the density of a mount could get close to eliminating that noise. I can't believe I fell for that one, but I'm glad I did that little experiment. I've always wondered how bad it would be, and it turns out it's pretty bad. And lastly, cold air intakes. I've had a love-hate relationship with these things for the longest time. You know, as I was first getting into cars, I thought a cold air intake was a no-brainer way to cheaply grab a couple extra horsepower, like a cheater mod of some kind. You got 150 bucks in an eBay account? Well, you have access to some horsepower, my friend.
Where'd you get it for $1? Internet.
Or at least that's how I thought. You see, as I got older and spent more time in the automotive community, I learned that most experienced people within the community frowned upon aftermarket intake systems. They made pretty big claims that a factory induction system is more efficient and draws in colder air than aftermarket units, and that factory units filter the air better, and that even an open element filter can rob horsepower compared to a factory one, which is, you know, not necessarily untrue. From a technical perspective, any power gained or lost is going to be so little you probably honestly won't notice it. It'll filter out less contaminants and could just be sucking in warm air. And I started to believe that aftermarket intakes were bad, even childish, a sign of neglect in a hard life. And honestly, I think that's the part that I fell for. I fell for the purist mindset, and I let them convince me that pure is better. And I've come to realize that that's not always the case. Because an aftermarket intake system is so much more than just some young kid being a racer trying to make horsepower.
All right, now let's talk about the engine.
They can clean up engine bays, making for a really nice cosmetic upgrade from just cleaning up the stock engine bay all the way to full-on show car stuff. And probably my personal favorite part, the sound increase. An intake can increase driving pleasure in the same way that a catback does. It just makes everything a little bit more engaging through sound. And as a bonus, 99% of the time it will add power. No, you probably won't notice a 3 horsepower gain, but it's certainly not a bad side effect of what you're getting. That's what I don't get. All these intake companies strictly talk about maximum horsepower gains, and so it gives themselves this bad reputation by telling people you're gonna pick up 20 horsepower. There's just no way that's gonna happen, and we all know it. But if you go into it with a realistic expectation, an intake can have a lot of benefits for the money and shouldn't be written off just because of a juvenile reputation. But that's about all the time we got for this one, guys. Don't forget to post up in the comments your mod stories and let me know if there's anything else I can do to make our special time together a little bit more enjoyable. And if you guys aren't subscribed yet, what are you doing? If you were part of the notification squad, you'd have known immediately that we were doing 10 times entries in our S2000 plus $10,000 cash giveaway for the first week, but you were sleeping on it. And of course, save time and money by packaging your wheels and tires together at fitmentindustries.com. I'm Sean, SeanB.FI on Instagram. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.